A ship without a skipper, still moored in the mouth of the Amazon River in the spot where Sir Peter Blake was shot down. A long-time member of Sir Peter's team has been in contact with the crew from Southampton. He says they just arrived back on board after having dinner ashore.
And then this band of about 7 to 8 hooded individuals with guns just appeared out of the blackness and had the guys bailed up at gunpoint. And from what we could ascertain, Peter was either below or had gone below because he became aware of what was happening on deck and by all accounts rushed up to get on deck and sort out what was taking place, and was confronted by one of the gunmen halfway up to the cockpit, and was gunned down just in his tracks.
It's reported Blake was shot twice in the chest, once through the heart, and died instantly. 2 other crew members were injured in the attack. New Zealand's ambassador to Brazil arrived on the Seamaster today. She says the crew are devastated.
The feeling on the boat was this great, deep, profound sorrow. And, I mean, these are people who have been together for a long time, who are doing fantastic work to which they're all very committed. I mean, it's harrowing for them.
A scientific advisor to Blake Expeditions, who left the Seamaster just 2 weeks ago, says they knew there were risks but were confident they'd done everything to keep the crew safe.
But unfortunately, when you're faced with half a dozen armed men in a remote part of the globe, it's very, very difficult to make any kind of contingency plan for that, and it's just an absolute tragedy.
Ambassador Almao was called upon to officially identify Sir Peter Blake's body.
It was the first time I'd had to do something like that, but it was, I was able to do it, and Sir Peter Blake is a fine man, and in death as in life.
The killers are thought to be part of a gang of local pirates known as water rats. A month ago, Greenpeace workers in the area had threats against their lives.
We've had death threats against the coordinator of our campaign, along with hundreds of other people that have been working there. And we've had to approach the Brazilian government and really urge them to maintain law and order.
The murder of Sir Peter Blake is front-page news in Brazil. Denise Almao says everyone she's spoken to is extremely distressed.
They feel he's a citizen of the world, and it's a tremendous blow to them that he should have been murdered in their country. They're very distressed.
I mean, there's something wrong with the world, and Pete saw there was something wrong with the world environmentally and was determined to do something about it, and I don't know, let's hope that some good, whatever that might be, might come out of this dreadful event.
It's perhaps quite fitting that it rained here today. It's already been suggested that the name of Auckland's Viaduct Basin be changed to Blake's Harbour. Whether it is or not, whenever they tie up here, yachties will always remember Sir Peter Blake as the yachtsman, the adventurer, the explorer and the environmentalist. Bob McNeil, 3 News.
This may be one of the enduring images of Sir Peter Blake on board his expedition vessel the Seamaster in the Amazon. Here Sir Peter is briefing his crew on the essence of what Blake Expeditions was trying to achieve, preservation of the environment.
We haven't come here to make an animal documentary either. Whatever we see, whatever we find, good, bad or indifferent, it'll be our view of the Amazon, which I think people will be very interested in. They are interested in it.
This video was taken by Dr. Mark Orams only weeks ago, while he was in the Amazon in his role as scientific advisor to Sir Peter Blake.
He wanted his children and all of our children and grandchildren to have a future where all of those wonderful creatures were still in existence in abundance. And so Blake Expeditions was his way of really giving something back to the planet. And he was just incredibly enthusiastic about it, more so than perhaps even some of his yachting campaigns. And it's just tragic that at the start of something so wonderful that his life has been cut short.
Even in the Amazon, the New Zealand yachtsman was famous and welcomed by some of the locals. He was in the area to make wildlife documentaries and to raise international awareness of the region's importance. As these pictures show, Sir Peter and the Seamaster crew explored remote areas to assess the threats to the wildlife and environment. Mark Oram says he regarded Sir Peter not only as his friend, but also as a hero.
It's about the way he influenced people's lives. I mean, New Zealanders have defined who we are through people like Peter Blake. He expresses the best characteristics of New Zealanders. You know, determined, innovative, never give up, can turn failures into success, and to be very humble while doing that. And so I think that's one of the reasons so many New Zealanders loved Sir Peter Blake, is because he personified what's best about us as Kiwis.
The yachting legend may have met a tragic death, but these last images show the work that possibly made him his happiest. Stephen Parker, 3 News.
The new Prince of New Zealand yachting struggled to accept the King was dead.
It's just, it's one of those ones you just can't understand. It sort of, it doesn't seem real. It hasn't sunk in, that's for sure. And you wonder how something like that could have actually happened.
Today, the men who had sailed and worked with the late Sir Peter Blake remembered the man who brought them their first ever taste of America's Cup glory.
He was very, very human, and he gave you room, and he supported you, and he didn't complain himself about his own lot in life, you know.
Sir Peter Blake was the driving force behind the inception of Team New Zealand and the successful challenge of 1995 and the defence of 2000. He had many round-the-world yacht race campaigns, and in the process, as a leader, he gave many Kiwi sailors their lucky break.
I remember sitting down with him when he said that there was a job for me on the boat and the crew, and a little bit like now, you know, just sort of dumbfounded at the time that I got that opportunity.
As a mark of respect, the Team New Zealand boats didn't sail today. Instead, those close to Sir Peter gathered at the compound and remembered the most successful yachtsman New Zealand has ever produced.
Still got his memories, and we can still say what would Peter have done and so on. So we just lost the living presence of somebody who was a little bit larger than life.
It provides pretty good motivation, I think, to win it again, keep it in Auckland, do it for New Zealand and do it for Blakey, you know.
But no success in 2003 will heal today's loss.
You know, he was, I guess, a little bit like a father. You know, you looked up to him very, very highly, and yeah.
That sort of really makes you wonder what our world's really all about.
Rachel Smalley, 3 News.
A life cut short, but one full of achievement and determination. After 5 tries, he won the Whitbread Round the World race on Steinlager 2, finishing first in every leg.
Well, it's taken 17 years of every 4 years going out there and going around the world, a bit like a human satellite in the end, and it's been worthwhile.
It was the first of many times we would see him popping corks on television. He set off to sail the world again in a very different boat in 1994. The catamaran Enza reached speeds of 24 knots during the circumnavigation. Huge seas couldn't stop him going round the world in a record 75 days.
Everyone was actually quite frightened because we were about to go upside down.
Winning the Jules Verne Trophy began a long association with the French, who considered him one of the greatest sailors in the world after their own Jacques Cousteau. Blake was Cousteau's heir as the captain of the marine research vessel Calypso 2. But it's the America's Cup, becoming New Zealand's Cup, that everyone remembers the most. After 2 unsuccessful attempts, New Zealand went head-to-head with Dennis Conner in '95. His will to win became infectious.
What I want to have happen, if possible, is to get 3.5 million New Zealanders riding that yacht.
The red socks he'd worn for good luck started popping up everywhere, and black magic ended America's long spell as holders. Who could forget the sight of Peter Blake and Team New Zealand so openly enjoying their victory? Scenes that were only topped by ticker tape parades when they brought the cup home to New Zealand.
How could you not have the fun of this?
He was knighted for that victory.
Arise, Sir Peter.
And when he helped at the opening of Te Papa, it was clear New Zealand had a new statesman. The turn of the millennium saw Sir Peter's attention turn too to the environment. He joined the Prime Minister in attacking Japanese whaling.
Why is this being allowed to happen? What is wrong with us? Why is it the entire world stands up and says stop, but there are still 2 countries that don't give a damn?
Blake was considered a meticulous planner and inspiring leader. Early last year came his last great triumph, the retention of the America's Cup, his legacy to this country. The master sailor almost brought to tears by Russell Coote's tribute.
Thank you. I'm going to start off by talking about a true Kiwi icon, Sir Peter Blake.
As Special Envoy for the United Nations Environment Programme, he sailed Seamaster to Antarctica earlier this year. Little did he know it was the beginning of his last great adventure.
It was a life-changing experience, really, but for the good.
From on board Seamaster, where he has been travelling the world he wanted to save, Blake typed his last ever log entry, asking himself the question,
why are we here?
He went on to answer,
we must all start appreciating what we have before it is too late. To win, you have to believe you can do it. You have to be passionate about it. We have begun, we are underway, we have a passion. We want to make a difference.
No question, he did. Kim Hurring, 3 News.